Alright, so we're back. You've been working with me here on installing the seats. Okay, the Braum racing seats. What I didn't tell you is the type of car we're working on today. So we're putting these in a turbo MR2. Alright, there's the original seat. Okay, as you can see, the bolsters, they're older, so you know they're still good. However, they're not as good as what the newer seats are. So there's the Braum seat. Okay, pretty classy looking, right? Much bigger bolsters. Nice feel to the seat. All right, you know, make sure that you're measuring. I didn't go with a taller seat because these seats that are in here, they don't have much room. Okay, so you want a little bit of a low profile seat. You don't want to be too much more elevated than the original manufacturer. Okay, now these seats with the brackets and sliders and everything else is about maybe 3/4 of an inch higher. Okay, so for me, I can still fit in here with my helmet on. Not a big issue. Okay, if it is, you know, you can always go without the sliders. You can always think of something else. Okay, so sliders, to me, I daily drive this seasonally, so I wanted the sliders. Okay, a little bit more practical. Alright, so I'm going to show you, obviously taking the original seat out isn't that big of a task. Okay, what you can do is you can look at, if you're not familiar with where your holes are, you can look at the brackets that you got in the mail, or however you got them shipped to you, and they have the holes to pick up on the front, and then you got 2 holes in the back. Okay, so we're going to take these out. Sometimes if these plastic guards don't want to come off, right, flathead screwdriver is great for that. Make sure you don't gunk them up. You don't want them to be all jacked up and stuff like that. So be gentle, but you know, we'll get those off. We'll pick the bolts up, and then I'll show you. Passenger seat isn't going to have any type of connect underneath. All right, the driver's seat does have the seat belt light underneath. When you take the seat out of the driver's side, you don't want to cut those, folks. For one, again, safety is a big thing, and for two, it's going to be annoying as hell if that thing keeps blinking, and you're going to kick yourself in the ass for cutting that cord. Okay, so take it off of the original seat and hook it back up. All right, do yourself a favor. All right, so we'll pick these bolts up. We're going to take the seat out. The other thing that I like to do, you're taking the seat out, vacuum the car. All right, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, even if you normally vacuum it out, it's not going to get picked up that's deep under that seat. So we'll get this seat out and we'll touch base. All right, we went ahead, we loosened all 4 bolts that are holding the seat down. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the seat out. Okay, it's a lot easier if you put it all the way up. Alright, that's why I typically do the front bolts and then the rear bolts, because I already have the seat up sandwiched together. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see it yet. Talked about vacuuming it out. Look at that. We found a pen, we got a lighter, and a lot of debris. Now again, the car was pretty clean, but you have the seat out, folks. Do the right thing. Here's a bobby pin. We'll keep that out of the vacuum. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to vacuum this out, and then we'll resume with the install of the new seat. Okay, got it all vacuumed out. Looks a lot better, right? Might be a couple little dog hairs or something in there, but this is for the seatbelt slide there. All right. So essentially, you know, I'm going to leave that in there. I try to leave as much with the car as I can as a part 2 scattered all over the place. It's not hurting anything. You know, you take it out if you want, but again, so we try to keep it as original as possible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the seat. We're going to bring it in. And I'm going to start with picking up these back holes. Okay, now it's going to be hard to see because the actual mount doesn't it doesn't just drop off like the original seats, okay? And by that, I'll show you what I mean. The original seats here, they're right there, okay? So what happens is with the universal seat brackets that they make, is they come out further. So this is actually underneath the seat, okay? So at that point you're going to need really a wrench. It's going to be tough to get a socket in there. So if you just, you can sneak your hand under there, start the bolt with the new mount. I'll kind of give you a reference here. Bear with me. Okay, so I got the new seat out here. What I mean by that is, you can see, obviously there's no bolts right here like the other seat, okay? They're right there. They're underneath, okay? So you want to snake yourself in there. If you have a small enough socket, you can probably get in there, but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use a wrench. I'm going to start with the two back. Again, the front, they're the same as the other ones. They're just right there, okay? So very easy to pick up. So we're going to start with the back. And I'll show you once it gets... Alright, so one of the things I forgot to show you is that seat belt. Alright, so on the old seat, the seat belt was, it's the seat belt clip, if you will, okay? It was mounted here, alright? So I removed just the actual belt part, okay? All of this is on the seat, as you can see, okay? That's what that slide went into, okay? And what that did is it moved with the seat on the rails. Now when you go aftermarket, as you can see, you're no longer going to have that where it actually slides with the seat, okay? This is part of the actual mounting bracket that will stay, okay? Now the good thing is, I'll move the seat so you can see it. Okay, when you're in this seat, you have access to it, okay? So it's not that big of a deal that it doesn't slide with you back and forth. There's plenty of room. You can always adjust the belt itself, okay? But you want to go, so I had bolts from the hardware store, okay? Actually the auto parts store, not the hardware store. So I got the same size nut, okay? I left all the washers that was with the original bolt, okay? As long as my rule of thumb, as long as I can see some threads coming out of that nut, then you're good, okay? If I couldn't get a couple threads through that nut, then I would take one of these washers out, okay? As long as you're through there, you got a couple threads showing, you got a tight fit, okay? So as you can see, it's still adjustable. It's just not going to slide with the seat, but as I said before, you can see that clearance room. Again, kind of lose a couple of the original things when you go with aftermarket seats, but in the long run you got a lot better bolsters, you got a lot better styling. Let's just take a minute here to look at their styling. So the name engraved here or printed here in the back, it's actually embossed, if you will, okay? Let's see if I can, there you go, okay? This a little bit different. I thought it was suede from the picture. It's actually like a grip, okay? Pretty stylish, very nice. A little bit of their stitching, okay, so you can see that, right? Pretty good stitching on that seat, okay? It's a leatherette, and then the cool thing about these seats is the middle. So you've got the solid black here, and then in the middle it's almost like carbon fiber. It's almost like that Silock from a carbon fiber where they crisscross. You can see that. Very cool in person. I don't know if this camera is getting it completely, but really ritzy, sporty feel to it, okay? There may be, see, there's a little cat or dog hair. I'll have to clean these. That's from being in the house. Okay, and of course it's So this is where that slider rail is, right? It doesn't stick out too much. I've seen some aftermarket seats where that slider rail sticks out a whole ton. So really, it doesn't stick out at all. Okay, nice sporty feel to it. You know, what this reminds me of is if this was adjustable, almost like a BMW original seat. Okay, and then again, that's solid black. So you got solid black all on the edges, and then you've got the almost carbon fiber leather, leatherette, if you will, vinyl. I'm not sure what it is, but it's very sharp. Looks good. Adds a nice feel to it. Okay, so there's the actual seats themselves, and I'll show you the back also. Same carbon fiber look on the back in the middle. Of course, you got your seat belts. If you go with a sport seat belt, again embossed in the back, very ritzy, not bright, not stand out, but very subtle. I really like that about these seats. The other thing, you got your built-in zipper here. If you ever want to, I don't know if you put heated seats in or anything like that. I don't drive this in the winter, so I definitely won't need to. However, if you ever need to get these maybe re-cushioned, reupholstered after many years, you know, easy off access there. Okay, so as you can see, we got the rails in, mount is ready. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put them in the car. Alright, I pulled it back out because I want to show you that seat belt. Okay, essential. You want to put that on there before you put the seat in the car. That way you have better access to it. Alright, so to keep you from having to look at my ass in the camera, I just went ahead and I put these bolts in. I haven't tightened them down all the way because, again, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, leave all the bolts loose until you get the last one in. Okay, so, you know, it's finger tight right now. Alright. You know, you want to be able to, again, like the other bolts, you don't want to strip them, okay? So you want them, you want to thread them in with your hands, okay? Especially threading through steel, it's easy to strip them. It's easier to get threads in, thread shavings in the threads of the nuts there, okay? All right, so go ahead and slide this up. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. I'll try and get you back there. Okay, so that is where the burn hole also, you see the burn hole in my rug, but just in front of that, you can see the nut. Alright, this side is going to be too dark. So again, right there, it's finger tight. I was able to start it with my fingers, get a couple threads. I used a 14mm wrench, just a flat wrench, kind of get in there and start it. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tighten them all down. Seat belt is done, so really that's all that's left, is just to tighten them all down. So alright, and we'll be back for the finished product. Another thing, before I forget, if you're pulling these bolts out, do yourself a favor. Before you put them back in, put some anti-seize on them. Just like any other bolt, you know, that you're putting in the car. I mean, these bolts for me, it is a 92, so they're 24 years old. Alright, if I'm pulling them out and I'm putting them back in without any anti-seize, if I go to pull them out again, I might be kicking myself in the ass. Alright, do yourself a favor, future reference, put anti-seize on any bolt that you take out, especially if it's 24 years old.